prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati and the entire Guru Parampara on behalf of all of us. Today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Mahasaraswatyai Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakruto Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Om Namah Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya Hari Om. In the last set of shlokas, Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada is explaining to the disciple set of most important shlokas which are directly concerned with Atma Darshana. We had stopped at the most landmark shloka, that is, according to this book, 387th shloka, time number, that in fact it is nothing but the entire summary of the entire Upanishadic Siddhanta propounded by Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada himself. Swayam Brahma, Swayam Vishnu, Swayam Indra, Swayam Shiva, Swayam Vishwam Idam Sarvam, Swasmad Anyat Na Kinchana. That was the last shloka, last time it was completed. Here, the four important Mahavakyas, as they are called in Vedanta, of the Upanishads, all the four Mahavakyas, the summary has come down in this shloka by Acharya himself in such a beautiful way. Prajnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. These are the four cardinal Mahavakyas as they are accepted in the Indian philosophical system. That is summarized in one sense here. So this is what is referred as Atma Darshana to the disciple. Acharya is explaining. Swataha ನಿರ್ವಿಕಾರನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನಿರ್ವಿಶೇಷ ನಿರ್ವಿಕಲ್ಪ ನಿಷ್ಕ್ರಿಯನಾಗಿ ನಿಷ್ಕಲನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಆತ್ಮವಸ್ತು ಏನಿದೆಯೋ, ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ವಸ್ತು ಏನಿದೆಯೋ, ಸದ್ವಸ್ತು ಏನಿದೆಯೋ, ಆ ಚಿದ್ವಸ್ತು ಏನಿದೆಯೋ, ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಅದೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಗೋಚರ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಮೂಲ ಸನಾತನ ಅವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಸಾಕಾರ ರೂಪಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಸ್ವಯಂ ವಿಷ್ಣು, ಸ್ವಯಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ, ಸ್ವಯಂ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರನಾಗಿ ಕಂಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮವೇ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಸರ್ವ ವಿಶ್ವವೂ ಆತನಿಂದಲೇ ಬಂದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮೂಲತಃ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವೇ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಭಾವದ ಭೂಮಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಎತ್ತರಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋದಾಗ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವೇ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಸ್ವಯಂ ವಿಶ್ವಮಿದಂ ಸರ್ವಂ ಸ್ವಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಅನ್ಯತ್ ಕಿಂಚನ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವೇ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಅಭಿವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಆ ನಿರ್ವಿಶೇಷ ನಿರ್ವಿಕಾರ ನಿರ್ಗುಣ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. So the entire universe, from the standpoint of the absolute unmanifest, is nothing but the same Brahma Swarupa, that unmanifest, that absolute, that supreme consciousness, that has exhibited itself in various forms and names, that has appeared on the horizon as the universe, as the sentient and insentient things, as living and non-living things. So today he will continue in the next set of shlokas the same point. So we are commencing today shloka number 388 onwards. Continuation. Antaswayam chapi bahiswayam cha swayam purastat swayameva paschat swayam avachyam swayam udichyam tatho parishtat swayam api adastat. Antaswayam chapi bahiswayam cha swayam purastat swayameva paschat swayam avachyam swayam udichyam tato parishtat swayam api adastat. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಶಿಷ್ಯ? ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಯಾವ ಈ ಸದ್ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆಯೋ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಅಂತ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ, ಆ ನಿರ್ಗುಣ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಅದು ಸ್ವಯಂ ಅಂತಃ ಚ ಅಪಿ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಬಹಿಃ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪುರಸ್ತಾತ್ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪಶ್ಚಾತ್. ಸ್ವಯಂ 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 ಶಬ್ದದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಆತ್ಮನ ವರ್ಣನೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಸ್ವಯಂ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಈ ಆತ್ಮನೇ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಆ ಈ ಆತ್ಮನೇ, ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಈ ಆತ್ಮನೇ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆ ಆತ್ಮನೇ ಸ್ವಯಂ, ತಾನೇ ತಾನಾಗಿಯೇ ಒಳಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಹೊರಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಸ್ವಯಂ ಅಂತಃ ಚ ಅಪಿ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಬಹಿಃ. ಆತ ಈ ಆತ್ಮವಸ್ತು ಒಳಗೂ ಇದೆ, ಹೊರಗೂ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪುರಸ್ತಾತ್ ಸ್ವಯಮೇವ ಪಶ್ಚಾತ್. ಮುಂದುಗಡೆಯೂ ಆತ್ಮನೇ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಹಿಂದುಗಡೆಯೂ ಆತ್ಮನೇ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಕೆಲವು ವಿಶೇಷಣಗಳ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಬೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಆ ನಿಜಬೋಧ ತತ್ವ ಆತ್ಮದರ್ಶನವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಮುಂದೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಹಿಂದೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ದಕ್ಷಿಣದಲ್ಲೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಉತ್ತರದಲ್ಲೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಮೇಲೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಕೆಳಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾನಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ. ಈ ಆತ್ಮವಸ್ತು, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು, ಈ ನಿರ್ವಿಶೇಷ ನಿರ್ವಿಕಾರ ನಿರ್ಗುಣ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ತತ್ವ, ಈ ಆತ್ಮ ತತ್ವ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಭೂಮಾಂತ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತದೆಯೋ ಆ ವಸ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುವ ಬದಲು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಈ ಆತ್ಮವಸ್ತು, ಈ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು, ಈ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಿನ್ನನ್ನು ನೀನು ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕೃತ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಂದೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಹಿಂದೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಮೇಲೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಕೆಳಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಎಡಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಬಲಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಶ್ಲೋಕ, for the purpose of clarity, Acharya is taking certain examples to explain stepwise how this Paramatma Tattva, this Atma Tattva, this Parabrahma Tattva, as we call God, the invisible, primordial, unmanifest principle, this Chit Shakti, this Parabrahma Tattva, where is it? Taking you as an example, Acharya, to the Shishya, to the disciple. Now, you concentrate. I'm giving an example here. Taking you in the center, you think over. This Atma Tattva is in front of you. It is behind you. It is in your left side. It is on the right side. It is on the upper side. It is on the lower side. Everywhere you find this Parabrahma Tattva totally radiating, totally present, totally encompassing the whole thing what you can imagine. Antaswayam chapi bahis swayam, that is itself, Atma by itself. Swayam means by itself. It is by itself inside. Look, my dear disciple, Swayam Anta, by itself it is inside you. By itself it is outside you. Bahis Swayam, by itself it is outside you. Swayam Purastat, Swayameva Paschat. By itself it is in front of you. Purastat, in front of you. Swayameva Paschat, it is behind you by itself, all by itself. Swayam Avachyam, Swayam Udichyam. Avachyam, on the south side. Udichyam means here on the north side. Acharya is trying to give some examples to explain the main point. It is on the south side, it is on the north side. Similarly, the same simile, if you continue, you can also say it is on the east and it is on the west. So in all directions it is there. Swayam avakyam, swayam udikyam, tatho aparishtat, swayam api adasta. Tatho aparishtat, uparishtat. Tataha, same thing, the self, the Atma, Parabrahma Vastu, uparishtat, it is above also. And swayam api adasta, it is below also. So, in whatever direction you think of, wherever your mind flies away, Atma is there, totally surrounded. The whole universe is interlaced. So this godly principle, this cosmic principle, this Atma Tattva, Brahma Tattva, or God, all these words, it is a base, it is a substratum, it is a adhara for the whole universe. So that which is a substratum, that without the substratum, universe cannot exist. The 5 basic elements cannot exist because they have come from that primordial Moola Sanatana Abhyakti during creation. So the whole universe is interlaced with the same Atmic principle. So the universe which has manifested itself. So at the standpoint of the Atma Tattva or Parabrahma Tattva, this universe is nothing but manifestation of God in names and forms. Manifestation of God in the names and forms, different names and forms. So the whole universe is adheya, means it is dependent on. And this Atma Tattva is adhara, substrate. So that is a point to Acharya here, trying to make it very clear. Now, Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal, while explaining this shloka on Atma Darshana by Acharya Bhagavad Pada, now he explains that in this shloka, Acharya Shankara Bhagavad Pada has introduced the core point of the Mahamantra of the Mundaka Upanishad itself. That is how Mahaswami writes here for this shloka in his commentary. The entire Mahamantra of Mundaka Upanishad is taken out and written in the form of a shloka in the Viveka Chudamani by Acharya himself. What is that most important Mahamantra of Mundaka Upanishad? That says, Brahmaivedam Amrutam Purastad Brahma Paschat Brahma Dakshinaschotarena ಅದಶ್ಚೋರ್ಧ್ವಂ ಚ ಪ್ರಸೃತಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮೈವೇದಂ ವಿಶ್ವಮಿದಂ ವರಿಷ್ಠಂ. So the Mahamantra ends as Brahmaivedam Vishwamidam Varishtham. Brahma eva idam Vishwam Varishtham. It ends the Upanishad Bhava. So everything is Parabrahma Vastu, Paramatma Vastu. That is the point here. And further, to make this point clear, in the next few shlokas, same thing Acharya will further explain with other examples. ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದಿನ 2-3 ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವದ ಬಗ್ಗೆಯೇ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳಿಂದ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಇದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಿಶದವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ. ತರಂಗಫೇನ ಭ್ರಮ ಬದ್ಬುದಾದಿ ಸರ್ವಂ ಸ್ವರೂಪೇಣ ಜಲಂ ಯಥಾ ತಥಾ ಚಿದೇವ ದೇಹಾದ್ಯ ಅಹಮಂತಮೇತತ್ ಸರ್ವಂ ಚಿದೇವೈಕರಸಂ ವಿಶುದ್ಧಂ. ತರಂಗಫೇನ ಭ್ರಮ ಬದ್ಬುದಾದಿ ಸರ್ವಂ ಸ್ವರೂಪೇಣ ಜಲಂ ಯಥಾ ತಥಾ ಚಿದೇವ ದೇಹಾದ್ಯಂ ಅಹಮಂತಮೇತತ್ ಸರ್ವಂ ಚಿದೇವೈಕರಸಂ ವಿಶುದ್ಧಂ. Now here, very common example, ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಒಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಬರಬೇಕು. ಹರಿತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಶಾಲವಾದ ನದಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ವಿಶಾಲವಾದ ಸರೋವರ, ಮಾನಸ ಸರೋವರ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ, ವಿಶಾಲವಾದ ಸರೋವರ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸಮುದ್ರ ಆಗಲಿ, ಸಾಗರ, ಇವುಗಳನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಧುಮ್ಮುಕ್ಕುವ ಜಲಪಾತವನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನೀರು ಮೇಲಿಂದ ರಭಸವಾಗಿ ಹರಿತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಬಂಡೆಗಳಿಂದ ನುಗ್ಗಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕೊರಕಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಸಾಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ಜೋರಾದ ಗಾಳಿ ಬೀಸಿದಾಗ ಉಂಟಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಅವಲೋಕ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ನಮಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ? ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯಾ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ನೊರೆ, ಕೊರಕಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಪ್ರವಾಹ ಬಹಳ ರಭಸವಾಗಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಜಲಪಾತದಿಂದ ಧುಮ್ಮುಕ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೊರೆ 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 ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನೊರೆಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ನೀರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಕಡೆ ಗುಳ್ಳೆಗಳು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನೀರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಳ್ಳೆಗಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಕೆಲವು ಕಡೆ ಹರಿತಾ ಇರೋ ನದಿ ಹೊಳೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಳಿ, ಅಂತರ ಸುಳಿಗಳು, ರಭಸವಾಗಿ ನೀರು ಹರಿತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಳಸುಳಿಗಳು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನು ವಿಶಾಲವಾದ ಸಾಗರ ಅಥವಾ ಸಮುದ್ರದ ತಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಗಾಳಿ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಬೀಸಿದಾಗ ಊಹೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೂ ಆಗದೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಅಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದ ಅಲೆಗಳು ಏಳ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲೆಗಳು ಬಂದು ದಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅಪ್ಪಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೀಗೆ ಸಮುದ್ರ, ಸಾಗರ ಮತ್ತು ನದಿ ಈ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಆಗಾಗ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ? ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಅಲೆ, ನೊರೆ, ಸುಳಿ, ಗುಳ್ಳೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ನಮಗೆ ನೀರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಸಾಗರ ಇರಬಹುದು, ನದಿ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಜಲಪಾತ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಹೆಸರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. ಇದು ಅಲೆ, ಇದು ನೊರೆ, ಇದು ಗುಳ್ಳೆಗಳು. ಉದ್ಭುತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗುಳ್ಳೆ, ಭ್ರಮ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಸುಳಿ, ಸುಳಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ನೀರಿನ ಸುಳಿ, ಏನು ಸಿಕ್ಕರು ಸುಳಿಯೊಳಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಂಡು ವರ್ತುಲಾಕಾರವಾಗಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಎಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗುವಂತ ಮಹಾನ್ ಸುಳಿ. ಈ ಹೆಸರು ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೂ ಸಹ ನಾವು ಸುಳಿ, ನೊರೆ, ಅಲೆಗಳು, ಗುಳ್ಳೆಗಳು ಅಂದ್ರು ವಸ್ತುತಃ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಮೂಲ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ನೀರೇ, ನೀರಿನ ಅಂಶವೇ. ಆ ಗುಳ್ಳೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ನೀರಿನ ಅಂಶ ಇದೆ, ನೊರೆನಲ್ಲೂ ಅದೇ ನೀರಿದೆ, ಸುಳಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಅದೇ ನೀರಿದೆ, ಅಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಅದೇ ನೀರಿದೆ. ನೀರಿನ ಅಂಶ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದು ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹೆಸರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬೇರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಹಾದಿಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾಣ, ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ, ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆಯಾಗಿ ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಜಗತ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನಾ ವಿಧ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಹಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ವಸ್ತುತಃ ಅದು ಇರುವುದು ಒಂದೇ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವ. ಬದಲಾಗದೆ ವಿಶುದ್ಧ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, ಚಿನ್ಮಾತ್ರ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿತ್ಯ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, ಶಾಶ್ವತ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ಪದಾರ್ಥ. ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆಯೇ ಕಾಣ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಹೆಸರುಗಳು. ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ, ನೀನು ಬೇರೆ, ಅವನು ಬೇರೆ, ಅವಳು ಬೇರೆ, ಈ ವಸ್ತು ಬೇರೆ, ಆ ವಸ್ತು ಬೇರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ದೇಹವನ್ನೇ ತಗೊಂಡು ದೇಹದ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು ಬೇರೆ, ಜ್ಞಾನೇಂದ್ರಿಯ ಬೇರೆ, ಕರ್ಮೇಂದ್ರಿಯ ಬೇರೆ, ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಬೇರೆ, ಪ್ರಾಣ ಬೇರೆ, ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಬೇರೆ, ಚಿತ್ತ ಬೇರೆ, ಈ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ನಾನು ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ ಇದು ಬೇರೆ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿದರೂ ಸಹ ಇರುವುದು ಮೂಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು, ಆತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು. ಇರುವ ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು ಏಕರಸವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಚಿದೇಕರಸವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಚಿತ್ ಸ್ವರೂಪವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಚಿನ್ಮಾತ್ರ ಸ್ವರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ. ಸೊ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ ದಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಕಾಮನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಶ್ಲೋಕ. ತರಂಗ ಫೇನ ಭ್ರಮ ಉದ್ಭುದಾದಿ ಸರ್ವಂ ಸ್ವರೂಪೇಣ ಜಲಂ ಯಥಾ. Taranga means, waves. Fena means the frothing. When the water gushes through the gorges or it falls down from height to the lower level in the form of waterfall. When it is rushing through the gorges in between the huge rocks, then you find there is formation of froth, that is called fena. Brahma means whirlpools. When the water is flowing with a full force in a river, or even at certain areas of the beaches, in the sea level, the seashore, you find formation of whirlpools due to the wind pressure, wind movement, the force, the velocity. So the water force and the wind force create the whirlpools. Brahma. Budbuda means, water bubbles. Everyone has seen it. Water bubbles, always they arise and then they disappear. They arise and burst and disappear. Water bubbles. Water bubbles are a common form. They simply arise, they just appear and then burst out and disappear. So these are the words. Please remember Acharya is taking these words. What he says here. Taranga fena brahma budbudadi sarvam swarupena jalam yatha. Even though we give different names by looking at the water bodies, whether you are looking at the sea or the ocean or the waterfall or the fast moving river during spate, or the river passing through the undulating gorges with the force of the river, with all that, you identify. At some places you find frothing occurring, then you find the bubbles, water bubbles occurring, and then you find the waves, huge waves with the ocean and sea beaches occurring, and the whirlpools found in the water. These names, they appear different. Bubble, whirlpool, froth, the wave, all words appear different. But if you closely examine from the point of discrimination, if you reason out, everything is nothing but water molecule only. Whether you call it a wave or a froth or a bubble, it's nothing but water only. At the highest standpoint, it is nothing but water. It is nothing but water itself. So, just like that. Chideva dehatyam ahamantametat sarvam chidevaika rasam vishuddham. In the same way, different forms and names of individual organisms, if you consider, millions of organisms. One is different from the other. One body is different from the other body. One animal is different from another animal. One plant is different from another plant. If you consider like that, there are millions of varieties. They appear different from each other. Even in a single body, if you consider, the karmendriyas are different, jnanendriyas are different, the chitta is different. The names we are giving, depending on the work, depending on their nature, their attributes. The buddhi is different, ego is different, the mind. These are the words we are using. Take your own body, we use these words to describe. The body has got organs, sense organs, jnanendriyas, organs of action, karmendriyas. Then there is the mind, there is buddhi, intellect, there is chitta, and there is aham, ego, ahankar. All these words, they denote different manovyapas. They have their own attributes. Even though the words are different, basically, there is only one. Chitteva dehadyam ahamantametat. Everything is basically chit swarup. Everything is basically chit swarup. It is only one that sadvastu, that chit vastu. That chit means that total supreme consciousness, supreme awareness, Parama Chaitanya. The whole body ultimately represents only nothing but Parama Chaitanya. That is a core principle. The body may show different parts. They are given different names. Subtle body and the gross body, etc., etc. But what is the core principle inside? There is only one vastu. Chidekarasam, Vishuddham. That is the purest of the pure. Purest of the pure. Only one vastu. So too, everything from the body to the mind to the chitta to the aham, up to the ahankara, everything is only one vastu, chit vastu, atma vastu. You have to remember like that, my dear disciple. This is what Acharya is talking. Then he continues. Sadevedam sarvam jagadavagatam vang manasayoho Natonyannasत्यeva prakriti parasim nistitavataha Pruthak kim rusnyaya kalashagada kumbhadyavagatam Vadatyesha bhrantasvam ahamiti maya madiraya. Fairly long shloka, 4 charanas again. Sadevedam sarvam jagadavagatam vang manasayoho Tatonyannasत्यeva prakriti parasim nistitavataha Pruthak kim rusnaya kalashagada kumbhadyavagatam Vadatyesha bhrantasvam ahamiti maya madiraya. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಯಾರು ಮಾಯೆಯನ್ನ ದಾಟಿ ಮಾಯಾಬಂಧನವನ್ನ ಮೀರಿ ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ ಆತ್ಮನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ, ಆ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಗಾತ್ಮನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಯಾರು ಮಾಯೆಯನ್ನು ಗೆದ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೋ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರವಾಗಿದೆಯೋ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಮಾಯೆ ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಮಾಯೆಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಪರಸೀಮ್ನಿ ಸ್ಥಿತವತಃ, ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಪರಸೀಮ್ನಿ ಸ್ಥಿತವತಃ. ಹಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಎಲ್ಲೆಯನ್ನು ಮೀರಿ ದಾಟಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೂಲ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಯೆ, ಆ ಭಗವತ್ ಶಕ್ತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಮಾಯೆಯನ್ನ ಮೀರಿ ಹೋಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರಗೊಳಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಪರಸೀಮ್ನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಯೆಯನ್ನ ದಾಟಿ ಹೋಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥಕೊಂಡಿರೋರು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಅಂಥವರಿಗೆ ವಾಕ್ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು ಏನಿದೆಯೋ, ಸರ್ವ ಜಗತ್ತು, ಈ ವಿಶ್ವ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸದ್ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಪ್ರತೀಕ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಪ್ರತೀಕ. ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನೇ ವಿಶ್ವದವಾಗಿ ವಿಶ್ವರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನಾ ವಿಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವವೇ ಕಂಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವರ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಾಗ್ಲಿ, ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವೇ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಮೂಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆಯಾಗಿ ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋದು ಅಖಂಡ ಏಕ ವಸ್ತು, ಏಕಂ ಸತ್, ಇರುವುದು ಒಂದೇ ಸತ್ ಪದಾರ್ಥ, ಇರುವುದು ಒಂದೇ ಚಿತ್ ಪದಾರ್ಥ, ಚಿನ್ಮೂರ್ತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಏಕ ವಸ್ತು, ಏಕಂ ಏವ ಅದ್ವಿತೀಯಂ, ಎರಡನೇ ವಸ್ತುನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಜಗತ್ತೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸದ್ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸದೇವೇದಂ ಸರ್ವಂ ಜಗದ್ ಅವಗತಂ ವಾಂಗ್ಮನಸಯೋ ತಥೋ ಅನ್ಯಂ ನ ಅಸ್ತಿ ಏವ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಪರಸೈನ್ಯ ಸ್ಥಿತವತಃ. ಈ ಸದ್ವಸ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಯಾರಿಗೆ? ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನು ಬಲ್ಲವರಿಗೆ, ತತ್ವಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಬಲ್ಲವರಿಗೆ ಸದ್ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮುಂದೆ. ಪೃಥಕ್ ಕಿಂ ಮೃತ್ಸ್ನಯ ಕಲಶಘಟ ಕುಂಭಾದ್ಯವಗತಂ. ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗೆ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಗಡಿಗೆ ಆಗಲಿ, ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಡಕೆ ಆಗಲಿ, ಒಂದು ಕಲಶ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಣ್ಣಿನಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳು ಅಂತ. ಒಂದು ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಪಾತ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಗಡಿಗೆ, ಒಂದು ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಹೂಜಿ, ಒಂದು ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಲೋಟ, ಒಂದು ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಕಲಶ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಂತ ಕಂಡ್ರು ಪೃಥಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಒಳಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಅವು ಎಲ್ಲದರಲ್ಲೂ ಜೇಡಿ ಮಣ್ಣಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲದರಲ್ಲೂ ಮೃತ್ತಿಕೆ ಇದೆ. ಹೆಸರು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇದ್ರು, ಇದು ಲೋಟ, ಇದು ತಟ್ಟೆ, ಇದು ಮಡಕೆ, ಇದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಗಡಿಗೆ, ಇದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಲಶ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರಿದ್ರು, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೂಪ ಇದ್ರು, ಮೂಲತಃ ಅವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಮಣ್ಣೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಮಣ್ಣೆ. ಮಣ್ಣು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಜೇಡಿ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳು ಹೆಸರು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇದ್ರು ಆ ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಮೂಲತಃ ಅವು ಮಣ್ಣಾಗಿವೆ, ಮಣ್ಣೇ ಅದರ ಮೂಲ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಅವು ಮಣ್ಣಿಗಿಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವದತಿ ಏಷ ಭ್ರಾಂತಃ ತ್ವಂ ಅಹಂ ಇತಿ ಮಾಯಾ ಮದಿರಯ. ಕೊನೇಶ್ವರ ಏಷಃ ಭ್ರಾಂತಃ ವದತಿ ತ್ವಂ ಅಹಂ ಇತಿ ಮಾಯಾ ಮದಿರಯ. ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ಪೀಡಿಸಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ, ಮಾಯೆ ಎಂಬ ಮದ್ಯವನ್ನ ಕುಡಿದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಅಮಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹವನು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಯಾಭ್ರಾಂತಿಯ ಮೋಡಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಮುಳುಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯರಾಗಿರೋ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ನಾವೇನಂತೇವೆ? ಭ್ರಾಂತಿಯಿಂದ ವದತಿ ಏಷ ಭ್ರಾಂತಃ ತ್ವಂ ಅಹಂ ಇತಿ. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ನೀನು ನಾನು, ನೀನು ಬೇರೆ, ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ, ಜಗತ್ತು ಬೇರೆ, ವಸ್ತು ಬೇರೆ, ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾವನೆ. ಯಾರ ಭಾವನೆ? ಮಾಯೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಮುಳುಗಿರೋವನಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಮೂಲತಃ ಇದೆಲ್ಲದಲ್ಲೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು ಒಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಭ್ರಾಂತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾನು ನೀನು ಅನ್ನೋ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಜ್ಞಾನದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಕೊನೆಯವರೆಗೂ ಜೀವನದ ಮರಣ ಪರ್ಯಂತ ಆತ ದ್ವೈತದಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಥಿತನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಮಾಯಾಭ್ರಾಂತಿಯಿಂದ ಆತ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ದ್ವೈತದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳಿದು ಬಿಡುತ್ತಾನೆ. ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ, ನೀನು ಬೇರೆ, ನೀನು ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದ್ವೈತ ಭಾವ. ಈ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ is explaining one beautiful point. ಸದೇವೇದಂ ಸರ್ವಂ ಜಗದವಗತಂ ವಾಂಗ್ಮನಸಯೋ ತಥೋ ಅನ್ಯತ್ ನ ಅಸ್ತಿ ಏವ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಪರಸೈನ್ಯ ಸ್ಥಿತವತಃ. The words Acharya is using, we have to concentrate. The key word here. Prakriti parasimni sthitavataha. Prakriti parasimni, the one who has crossed over the boundary of the Prakriti. One who has crossed over the Prakriti itself. What is the word Prakriti parasimni here? The one who has crossed over Prakriti means Prakriti parasimni sthitavataha. That means here Acharya is hinting Prakriti, he refers to Maya. That latent, that invisible, that unexplainable, that anirvachaniya, that agochara, that avyakta, moola prakriti called Maya, Maya Shakti, Yoga Maya Shakti, Vaishnavi Maya Shakti, whatever names you add there. So the Maya Shabda, the Maya word used here refers to that potency of Lord Himself, that potency of Paramatma Himself, that potency of God Himself, that potency of Ishvara Himself, by which He not only covers Himself, becoming invisible, but also He covers the entire your reasoning capacity of all creatures. So the Maya will behold, it will mesmerize, it will hypnotize, it will act like a complete covering over our senses, our discrimination, our discriminatory power, our intelligence, whatever words you use. The Maya will mask, Maya will suppress the reality. It will not allow us to know the reality who I am. Maya will see that you always remember that you are the body. The Maya will see that you remember that your status is you are so and so physical body with a name and form and a status. The other person has a different form, different name, different status. So I am different, he is different, she is different, he is different, they are different. So only with this feeling should persist throughout till the last breath. So that is the nature of Maya. So what is that Maya? Maya, very difficult, as Acharya himself, very difficult to explain. Anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniya. Paramesha Shakti. Avyakta Namni. Anirvachaniya. It cannot be explained. All the best can be said. Maya is Jnana Virodhi Vastu. Maya is something which is exactly opposite to Jnana. It is something which is opposite to the Jnana itself. So, because of the Maya, because of its veil, because of its covering, we have forgot. We are with sound sleeping. So, we are like, sleeping very soundly. In the presence of Maya, we have not woken up to reality. That is the point. From birth to death, philosophically, we are sleeping. All our activities from birth to death are guided by Maya itself, the potency of Lord Himself. We are bound by that. We are covered by that. And the funny point, we don't know that we are covered by Maya itself. We absolutely don't know that we are completely surrounded by the Maya itself. That is a very interesting point. So that is exactly because we are bound, we don't understand the reality. So what Acharya says here, Satah Anyat Nasti Eva Prakriti Parasimni Sthitavataha. The one who has crossed over the Maya, one who has won over the Maya by the grace of Sadguru or Lord Himself, the one who has cut the snares of Maya, Maya Bandhana, only he is referred here, Prakriti Parasimni Sthitavata. And for him, everything is Sat only. Everything is Sadvastu only. The whole thing is Paramatma Vastu only. Whole thing is Atma Sarupa only, manifested in the form of universe, in the form of different identities. in the form of names and forms, various names and forms, they have appeared from the same Sadvastu. So in reality, the whole universe, the Vishwa, the Jagat, everything put together, all organisms together, nothing but Sadvastu manifested itself in these different forms. The base, the core point is Sadvastu only, Paramatma Vastu only, Parabrahma Vastu only, Atma Tattva only, Parabrahma Tattva only. Without that, nothing exists. That is what a Jnani knows. So the one who has gone over the Prakriti means the one who has crossed over the Maya by the grace of Guru or God himself. He only knows there is only one Sadvastu in the whole universe. And that Sadvastu is radiating itself, appearing itself as varied forms of names and forms of individuals, organisms, living and non-living. So, Acharya takes one example. See, for such a jnani, for such a person who has crossed over Prakriti, the limits of Prakriti, who has cut the Maya itself, for him, Acharya takes the example. Third chapter. Prutak kim nutsnaya kalasha ghata kumbhadyavagatam. Kalasha ghata kumbhadi avagatam nutsaya prutak kim nutsnaya prutak kim. So in this example, Acharya says, so for a jnani, for a realized one, for a Atma Tattva, person who has understood the Atma Tattva, when he looks at the pot, small and the big one, the vase, small and the big one, even the tumblers, the plates, small and big one, whatever you take, Kalasha, Ghata, Kumbha, all made up of soil. When he looks at them, even though they are identified by their names, a jnani knows they are all nothing but, the core point is they are all made up of clay only, the mud only. So all these pots, various varieties, small and big ones, there may be hundreds in front of you of various shape and size, but ultimately they are all made up of clay. So he remembers that the clay is the ultimate truth here, is a basic source. From the same clay, the mud, different varieties of instruments, these utensils have been shaped by the potter for our use, for various purposes. Ultimate point is everything is made up of clay, the mud, the soil. So without soil, without the mud, without the clay, all these individual parts, smaller and bigger, way smaller and bigger, tumblers, the plates, they don't exist. Without the clay, they don't exist. So clay is the reason for their existence. This is what a jnani knows. This is what a realized person knows by his personal experience. He remembers that point. But we don't concentrate on ajnanis. We are only immersed in selecting a big one and small one for our use. This is a small one, it's okay. No, this is a big one, it's okay. No, we don't want a small pot, we want a big pot. To store our grains, we need a bigger one. So we are only worried on that outer level. See, that is the point. And then he says, because of this, a person who is caught up by Maya, is bound by Maya, now he is limited to this duality mode, Acharya says, Dvaita Bhava. From birth to death, the persons who are in Ajnana mode, who are bound by Maya, who don't know that they are bound by Maya itself, this potency of God, potency of Lord, they see only duality everywhere. That is how they say Such a person says, you are different, I am. He is different, she is different. So they identify individuals by their name, form, and status. He will identify himself with the name, form, and his own status, that I am a man, I am a woman, like that. So the person identifies by superficial appearances. That is why from birth to death, always he is concerned with the superficial experiences and appearances. Different names and different forms, all are different. You are different, I am different. That is how he says, Vadati eshaha bhrantaha tvam aham iti maya madiraya. Keywords, last charana. So such ajnanis who are bound by Maya, in Dvaita Bhava only, they live from birth to death. So what is it they say? Such a ajnani, vadati eshaha bhrantaha tvam aham iti maya madiraya. Acharya is giving this example. So he is drunk by the power of Maya. Means how a drunkard behaves. That is a common example Acharya is trying to say. A drunkard, fully drunk person, an alcoholic, chronic alcoholic person who is fully drunk, he loses his sense of balance, cohesion. Even his body movements, his actions you observe, his talks, there is no coherence at all. Always blabbering. He doesn't know. His mind is totally deluded. His reasoning has gone. So the drunkard will say something nobody can understand. Neither you can bring the drunkard immediately to senses because his mind is totally under the influence of alcohol. The brain is not functioning normally because of the effect of alcohol, too much of alcohol. Same example Acharya takes. So a person who is drunk by the Maya, a person who is totally enamored by the Maya, behaves like a drunkard because of the effect of Maya. He says, you are different, I am. Vadati eshaha bhrantaha tvam aham iti maya madiraya. Maya madiraya. So for the one who is a jnani, who has gone beyond the limits of Prakriti, the entire universe seen as Sat Padartha only. There is nothing other than Sat. But for a person who is bound by Maya, always he sees the difference. You are different, I am different. Tvam aham iti vadati bhrantaha maya madiraya. That means the one who is covered by ajnana always lives in duality till the last breath. He can never understand the core point. He will never understand his own reality. He is always confined to superficial identity. I am this body, nothing else. Who really I am, that will never be known to a person who is always bound by the effects of mind. Only by the grace of Guru, by the grace of Sadguru, or by the grace of God, if this Maya, this veil, if it is cut or removed, then only the reality flashes in. That happens again and again, repeatedly, it is told, not by any more personal effort. It happens only by the grace of Sadguru or God, Ishvara himself, at an appropriate time. When the time comes in, it happens. Till that, the mind should be totally immersed in spiritual sadhana, without expecting anything, without any more desires, without any desires of whatsoever, with a total Shraddha, Bhakti and surrender at the lotus feet of Sadguru. Then, next shloka. Kriya samaviharena yatra nanyaditi shrutihi braviti dvaita rahityam mithya dhyasa nivruttaye. Short one. Kriya samabiharena yatra nanyat iti shrutihi praviti dvaitarahityam ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಧ್ಯಾಸ ನಿವೃತ್ತಯೇ. ಮತ್ತೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು? ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲವೋ, ಯತ್ರ ನಾನ್ಯತ್ ಇತಿ ಶ್ರುತಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೊಂದು ಇಲ್ಲವೇ ಇಲ್ಲವೋ ಎಂದು ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತು ಈ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾ ಸ್ವರೂಪವಾದ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಧ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪದಪುಂಜಗಳನ್ನು ಒಟ್ಟುಗೂಡಿಸಿ ಪುನಃ ಪುನಃ ಅದ್ವೈತ ತತ್ವವನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳುತ್ತವೆ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ what Acharya is talking here in this shloka, Acharya says the Upanishad Maha Mantras, the Upanishad Mahavakyas, repeatedly, in order to explain the Advaita principle, that is Dvaitarahitya Sthiti, the Advaitic principle. Dvaitarahitya Sthiti means the non-dual principle. There is only one, no other second. Ekam eva advitiyam, that principle. So to explain that Advaita Tattva, Upanishads, Mahavakyas, Mahamantras are repeatedly using the negative terms to explain what cannot be explained. Repeated. Kriya samaviharena yatra nanyad iti shrutihi braviti Dvaitarahityam mithya adhyasa nivruttaye. Why the Shruti Mahavakyas, Upanishad Mahavakyas are there? In order to mithya adhyasa nivruttaye, to remove the superimposition, the false identification that I am the body, I am the sharira, I am this body, I am so and so, I have a name, I have a status, I am a man, I am a woman, like this mithya, sharira abhimana. To remove this false identification that I am the body, so this is called mithya adhyasa nivruttaye. To remove this, Shrutihi braviti dvaitarahityam. The Shrutihi, Upanishads, Mahamantra, Mahavakyas repeatedly talk about Advaitic principle in different ways. Kriya samiviharena yatra nanyad iti shrutihi. Now here, Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal for this writes the Bhashyam commentary, taking one example of Upanishad Mahavakya. That is, here he takes the example of Chandogya Upanishad. Mahaswamigal, Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal, now introduces one Mahavakya of Chandogya Upanishad to explain this shloka. Kriya samiviharena yatra nanyaditi shrutihi praviti dvaitarahityam mithya adhyasa nivruttaye. To explain this, Mahaswami takes Chandogya Upanishad Mahamantra. What is that? Yatra nanyat pashyati, nanyat shrunoti, nanyat vijanati sabhuma. Just a small part of the Upanishad Mahamantra. Mahaswami says, or he takes that initial part of the Upanishad mantra in Chandogya, says, Yatra nanyat pashyati, nanyat shrunoti, nanyat vijanati sabhuma. Yatra na anyat pashyati, yatra na anyat shrunoti, yatra na anyat vijanati sabhuma. That is the meaning here. See, that means what? That where there is no second, there is nothing to see any other vastu, where there is nothing to see anything else, where there is nothing to hear anything else, where there is nothing to experience anything else, where there is nothing to observe anything else, where there is nothing else to know anything else. So in that state, when it remains all by itself, that is called bhuma. That is a word used. The bhuma word also refers to akshara, parabrahma vastu, paramatma vastu. That is what Chandogya says. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೊಂದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲವೋ, ಬೇರೊಂದನ್ನು ಕೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲವೋ, ಬೇರೆ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ಅರಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವೇ ಇಲ್ಲವೋ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತಾನೇ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಏಕತ್ರವಾಗಿ ಏಕರಸವಾಗಿ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದು ಭೂಮ ಅಂತ ಛಾಂದೋಗ್ಯ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಭೂಮ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ವೋ, ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ನಿರ್ದೇಶನ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ವೋ, ಅಕ್ಷರ ಅಂತಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಅಂತಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಅದು ಅಂತಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ತತ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪದ ಪ್ರಯೋಗ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಸಲ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭೂಮ ಶಬ್ದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಭೂಮ. ವಿಭೂ ಭೂಮ ಸರ್ವತ್ರ ಏಕವಾಗಿ ಏಕರಸವಾಗಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ. So that is the example of Shruti, how it says. There is Chandogya Upanishad taken. Now, similarly, very interesting point here is, there is a huge mantra, long one in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where during the dialogues on Atma Tattva, during the Upadesha of Brahma Tattva, Upadesha of Tattvajnana by Yajnavalkya Maharshi to his wife Maitri. At the same time, another Vadini means another an important lady by name Gargi also puts in lot of questions to sage Yajnavalkya. Now that whole prasanga is very huge one in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. We will not take up all those things. So to make that another saintly lady, Brahmavadini, Gargi, how to explain about Brahma Tattva, how to explain godly principle, how to explain that Parabrahma Vastu, how to explain that invisible, Nirvikara, Nirguna, Parabrahma Vastu. So sage Yajnavalkya says to the Gargi like this about what is called Bhuma here in Chandogya Upanishad. Now in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, sage Yajnavalkya tells Gargi, Etadvai tadaksharam Gargi brahmana abhivadanti. He says, brahmana abhivadanti, etadvai aksharam. Now look, my dear saintly lady, Brahmana, the learned one, means jnanis, not by caste. Here it doesn't mean Brahmins. Here in Upanishad, Brahmanaha means learned ones, Brahmajnanis, Atmajnanis, wise men. Yajnavalkya says, look, my dear saintly person, saintly lady, Brahmavadini Gargi, the learned ones say about that principle like this. I cannot explain, but the learned ones, the Tattvajnanis, Brahmajnanis say about that what you are asking, about that Akshara, what is that Akshara? And they say, Brahmana Abhivadanti. You know what they say? Yajnavalkya continues, Maharshi Yajnavalkya continues. The Brahmana Abhivadanti, what? Tadaksharam astholam ananu ahraswam adhirgam alohitam asneham achayam attamaha avayuhu anakasham asangam arasam, agandham, achakshushnam, ashotram, avak, amanaha, atejasvakam, apranam, amukham, amatram, anantaram, abahyam, na tadashnati kinchana, na tadashnati kinchana. Fairly long. He ends. That is how Yajnavalkya explains to Gargi about that Mahakshara. What cannot be explained only in negative terms. By using all negative terms, all the verbs in negative sense. That is exactly what Acharya is talking here. Kriya samaviharena yatra nanyadeshu. Sage Yajnavalkya be using all explicit the verbs with the negative sense. He tries to explain what cannot be explained. That akshara, that parabrahma vastu, paramatma vastu, that is asthulam. A refers to not, absent. A refers to absence. That will opposite. A means opposite. Sthula means the one which is big. Asthula means small one. So neither it is asthulam nor it is ananu. Neither it is big nor it is small. Neither it is ahraswam na adhirgam. Neither it is actually short nor it is very long. Neither it is alohitam na asneham. Neither it is colored by any color. It is colorless na asneham. Neither it is moist. Achayam atamaha. It is neither a shadow nor it is a darkness. Avayuhu anakasham. Neither it is wind nor it is space. Asangam. Arasam. Arasam. Neither it is associated. Asanga. It is not at all associated with anything. Arasaha. It is not even readily available for taste. Agandham, you can't even smell it. Avayuhu, it is not even wind. Achakshukam, it is not even eyes. Ashotram, it is not even ears. By ears you cannot hear. Avak, not by speech you can understand. Amanaha, not by mind you can understand. Atejasvakam, not by eyes you can see further. Apranam, it is not even pranavayu or pranashakti. Amukham, it doesn't have any face. Amatram, there is no measurement, it is immeasurable. Anantaram, abahyam, it is neither inside nor it is outside. Tadashnati kinchana, na tadashnati kinchana. It does not eat anything, nor anything will eat it. See, this is how it goes on and on in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The sermon on Brahma Tattva by sage Yajnavalkya, not only to his wife, even to the questions raised by the lady Gargi. So, by indirect method, Atma Tattva, godly principle, Parabrahma Vastu can be explained. Upanishads try to do that. But nobody can explain. Nobody can explain because it is something beyond words, something beyond mind, something beyond intellect. So it has to be experienced. Because they're always saying, see, what you are seeking, ultimately you become the sought. What you are seeking is not outside. You yourself is a seeker. The seeker becomes a sought. ನಾವು ಏನನ್ನು ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೋ, ಏನನ್ನ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದೇವೋ ಅದು ನಾವೇ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಕೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನೇ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೇಳೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೋಡೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅನುಭವಿಸೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ನಾವಾಗಿ ನಾನಾಗಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ವಸ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮಹಾ ಮೌನವೇ. ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಗೋಲ್ಡನ್ ಸೈಲೆನ್ಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಸ್ತು? ಪರತತ್ವ ವಸ್ತು, ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಗೋಲ್ಡನ್ ಸೈಲೆನ್ಸ್. ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್. You cannot explain. There is nobody else to receive the explanation. Paratattva remains as it is, alone, always alone, without change, neither with birth nor death. So it is faceless, actionless, motionless, speechless. Hari Om. With Guru Sankalpa, we are closing here today at the shloka number 391. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namo Bhagavate Rajeshwara.
Hari Om, sir. Simply wonderful. As always. Thank you for giving us the nectar of knowledge week after week.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.